Hello, you guys. Thank you for the pause. We take our part two. Second video. I mean by this, of course. Now we embark into part 9. Part 9 here, like this, the famous 9 Roman numeral, which is events in the middle. Events, you have it in your outline, in the middle of the Great Tribulation. Thank you for allowing me to abbreviate. So now, since you have your outlines with you, take your outlines in part 9. What I'm going to do, that's what I will attempt to finish the season, to finish the school year, which goes from September to May. So at the end of May, maybe one in July at the most, we part for our studies and so on. So great, let's start with this. Would you come with me into capital A, the little book? Would like you to come in Revelation chapter 10 this time. Revelation chapter 10. Revelation chapter 10, verses 1 to 11. Okay? There are many things here that will be happening at the midpoint, the events of the middle of the Great Tribulation. And this is very much a struggle to give it a chronological sequence. So it's basically impossible to come up. That would be prideful and dogmatic to say this is the exact order. So the way we will be proceeding, it's by logical events here, because you have quite a few points. I don't know if you have your outlines, I sure hope so. From capital A to capital O on the other page. So all the events here were basically not capable to define an absolute chronological order, chronology. And the events of the mid-tribulation will comprise chapters 10 to 14. Make a note of that. It will comprise chapter 10 to 14 and 17. So chapters 10 to 14, everything in between, and then chapter 17. Let's take to begin with capital A, the little book, the 11 verses of chapter 10. So come, we read. We read the totality without interruption, and then we make a short exposition on it. I saw another strong angel coming down out of the heaven, clothed with a cloud, and the rainbow was upon his head, and his face was like the sun, and his feet like pillars of fire. Shekinah. And he had in his hand a little book, circled the little book, which was open. And he placed it on on the right foot, and he placed his right foot on the sea, and his left foot on the land. And he cried out with a loud voice, as when a lion roars. And when he had cried out, the 7 peals of thunder uttered their voices. When the 7 peals of thunder had spoken, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Seal up the things which the 7 peals of thunders have spoken, and do not write them." So don't try to know what it is. You will not be able. The angel whom I saw standing on the sea and on the land lifted up his right hand to heaven and swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created the heaven and the things in it, and the earth and the things in it, and the sea and the things in it, and there will be delay no longer. But in the days, circle, in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he is about to sound, 7 trumpet, then the mystery of God is finished, as he preached to his servants, the prophets. Verse 8. Then the voice which I heard from heaven, I heard again speaking with me and saying, Go, take the book which is open in the hand of the angel who stands on the sea and on the land. So I went to the angel, telling him to give me the little book, and he said to me, Take it, eat it, and it will make your stomach bitter, but in your mouth it will be sweet as honey. I took the book out of the angel's hand and ate it, and in my mouth it was sweet as honey. But when I had eaten it, my stomach was bitter. And he said to me, You must prophesy again concerning many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. Let's begin what it says here. The little book is a pause. There was another book also before the seven seals, but here in chapter 10, verses 1 to 11, it's a pause because what's coming upon the earth right now is what we call by means of Proverbs the eye of the hurricane. It's going to be, they will be there for a ride, and I said it many times, the sets of judgments, they go from bad to worse, and they will sound the seventh trumpet. What does include the seventh trumpet? The seven bowl judgments. There are many things to speak about. Like I said already, they will be in a logical sequence, not in a chronological certainty. In verses 5 to 7, that's the result of the seventh trumpet are announced in 5 to 7. The angel whom I saw standing in the sea lifted in his hand on his right hand in heaven and so on, swore by him, verse 6 and verse 7, in the days of the voice of the seventh angel which is about to sound. So the sounding of the seventh trumpet is the same as the third woe judgment. It was on the board. That's the worst of all. That's what we call here climactic judgments. Climactic judgments. And this is a mystery for the only reason that these climactic judgments are nowhere to be found in the Old Testament. That's why it's called a mystery in basically, which verse was in it? There is the mystery. And verse 7, then the mystery of God is finished. It's going to be so bad, and you cannot basically find it in the OT. That's why this coming summer, I will get back to you on this, we will be holding 7-week classes in person, inviting the people to come on the 8 mysteries of the New Testament here. In verses 8 and 10, you have the story of us swallowing the book here. If I would make only prophecies of the end time, specifically in that course of time, I'm pretty sure that we would have more people to come. Maybe not, maybe yes, but the people are always fascinated by prophecies as long as you tell them what they want to hear. As soon as you keep it within the context, they're nowhere to be seen because their theology is based upon CNN or the Times columnists. That doesn't make sense. But conferences on prophecies and so on, it's always sweet to the people, sweet in the mouth. But if it stays there, what does it accomplish? It needs to be bitter in our stomach in order to reach the people out, because death will be outstanding at that period of time. So if it is only sweet to hear about a study of Revelation, we've lost the point completely. It has to become bitter in our stomach when we see the people around, even within the COVID, the number of physical death that we have. And if you have lost a loved one with the COVID, bless you. You have our support in prayers and thinking. But it's not a new thing. So beloved, it's a matter of life or death. Life with the triune God, or death without, separated from God in eternity. And we have stayed locked in our houses. Shame, belong to us. Sorry about that, but read the prayer of Daniel in chapter 9 here. So it has to create an incentive to share the gospel. Okay, Revelation chapter 10, verses 1 to 11 in its totality is information to the readers at the midpoint of the Great Tribulation. Now we take capital B, the second worldwide conflict. Now you turn. Come with me in Daniel. We go back to Daniel. We did Daniel. And you will remember these things. I know that much. You have been outstanding students of Daniel on a word of encouragement. You took it seriously. God bless you. We did not go average or the good enough attitude with our study of Daniel. Go to Daniel chapter 11. We get into the second worldwide conflict. Where am I sending you in Daniel? Verses 40 to 45. 40 to 45. We read again, although you can refer to your study of Daniel. At the end time, the king of the south will collide with him, that's the Antichrist, and the king of the north will storm against him with chariots, horsemen, and with many ships, and he will enter countries, overflow them, flooding them, if you want, and pass through. Verse 41. He will enter into the beautiful land. The beautiful land is Israel. And many countries will fall, but these will be rescued out of his hand. Circle now, Edom, Moab, and the foremost of the sons of Ammon. Then he will stretch out his hand against other countries, and the land of Egypt will not escape. But he will gain control over the hidden treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt and Libya and Ethiopia, which is Africa, will follow at his heels. But rumors from the east and from the north will disturb him, and he will go forth with great wrath to destroy and annihilate many. He will pitch the tents, circle pitching of the tents of his royal pavilion between the seas, circle the seas, and the beautiful holy mountain. Yet he will come to his end, and no one will help him. It's a review of Daniel. That's the second worldwide conflict during the period of the Great Tribulation at the midpoint, when the Antichrist will invade Israel. In verses 41, he takes control. All right, he takes control. He will enter the beautiful land in order, of course, to reach the midpoint, which will be the abomination of desolation here. These will be rescued of his hand here. These basically are the cities of refuge where the Jews will flee here. It will be fully explained later. I just want to show you here on the map who they are. I sure hope you can see. It says here Edom, Moab, and Ammon. Edom, here, right at the tip of the Dead Sea. Ammon and Moab. 1, 2, 3. Transjordan. When we use the expression Transjordan, it's beyond the Jordan. The Jordan is here. Jerusalem is right here. What do we find here? What do we find right here? We find Bozrah and Petra, the place of the second coming. So while the Antichrist will take many countries and many countries will fall, this is divinely protected by God for the Jewish people to flee at that time. Much more will be said later when we reach the proper point. Here, we're just happy with the second worldwide conflict in Daniel 11, verses 40 to 41. Come with me in verse 45. He will pitch his tents, the wild pavilion, between the seas and the beautiful mountain. This is Jerusalem precisely. He will pitch his tent right there between the seas. What are the seas? The Dead Sea right here and the Mediterranean Sea right there. So it's between the two seas, the Dead Sea, because Jerusalem is right at the northern tip of the Dead Sea. So he will pitch his tent. Tent is a military pavilion here. It's a temporary abode of a chief military commander, which is at that point the Antichrist. And C, here we move on to C for this morning, the Antichrist killed. We take this one. 1145b. Yet he will come to his end. He will die, the Antichrist, in that conflict, and no one will help him. You can go now to Revelation because it needs to be compared with another passage. I was reading Daniel 11:45b, the latter part, or C, the latter part of the verse. Now I am sending you in Revelation chapter 13, verse 3. Go there. And I saw one of his heads, which is the 7 heads, as if it had been slain, and his fatal wound were healed. That's the Antichrist being killed. And the whole earth were amazed and followed after the beast, because now he got resurrected. So, somewhere during that conflict, apparently the Antichrist is killed. And in Revelation chapter 3, when it says as if it had been slain here, it's a Jewish idiom also served of Christ as a resurrected individual. Not only being dead, but also resurrected, because the same idiom is used of the Messiah also, as if it had been slain here. So this is a Jewish idiom counting or basically referring to a resurrected individual, because the same words are used of the Messiah in Revelation chapter 5, verse 6. That's it. That's all I have to say for now concerning the Antichrist killed. Now we take, last for today, capital D, Satan cast down to the earth. Capital D, Satan will be cast down to the earth. You come with me in Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 to 12. We read 7 to 12, only that small chunk of the scriptures, and we will close like this for this evening. And there was war in heaven in verse 7 of chapter 12. Michael and his angels waging war with the dragon. The dragon and his angel waged war, and they were not strong enough, and there was no longer a place found for them in heaven. And the great dragon, circled dragon, was thrown down. The serpent of old, circled serpent of old, who is called the devil, circled devil, and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. These are fallen angels. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven, saying, Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brethren has been thrown down. He who accuses them before our God day and night. And they overcame here because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their testimony. And they did not love their life even when faced with death. Verse 12 and last. For this reason, rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwells in them, the heaven. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you. I don't think you will get molecule passed down from the internet, at least not yet. They will come up with that soon with technology, but thank God, not yet. Where was I? Verse 12. And for this reason, just a moment. And for this reason, rejoice, thank you. Rejoice, O heaven, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has only a short time. I'm not going to ask you now what is the short time, because you know. So a little bit of work to do here, very short. Under C here, not under C. Under C, under point number C, the Antichrist killed here. The war was on earth in the middle trib. Okay? But we have also at the same time here under D, a war that is happening now in heaven. Satan will be cast out from his third abode from heaven to earth. So we will go from the third abode. What is the abode of Satan right now? Do you remember the study of Satanology? The third abode of Satan is the atmospheric, is that it? Atmospheric heaven. That's where he operates right now. He have access to the third heaven also, but the sphere of operation of Satan and his demons, as well as the good angels if you want to, but now the focus is on Satan and his demons as we speak, is the atmospheric heaven. Now he will be cast from his third abode to the fourth abode of Satan, which is the earth. And this will be bad here. Just quickly, the first abode of Satan was a covering cherub in Ezekiel 28:14, before the earth became void by his fall. That was his first place. He was a covering God's throne. He was a canopy over God's throne in Ezekiel 28:14. That was his first abode. The second abode of Satan, which he had at the same time, was the mineral garden of Eden in Ezekiel 28. Not the vegetable garden, but the mineral garden. This earth was a shiny crystal ball with all kinds of precious stones and so on. He had access to it. When he fell, it became void. The third abode of Satan, you know what it is. It's behind me, the atmospheric heaven. The fourth abode of Satan will be the earth. And the fifth abode of Satan will be the abyss, temporary prison. I have scriptures for it all, but it's already studied. And number 6 will be the lake of fire. Here, in this chunk of scriptures that I have given you, we have 5 names for Satan, 5 designations or names for Satan. First one, the great dragon, emphasis, ferocious. Number 2, the old serpent, back to the Garden of Eden with the deceptiveness or the deception of Adam and Eve. Number 3 is called the devil. The emphasis, it's accuser. The emphasis of being the devil is the accuser. Number 4, Satan, it's adversary. Adversary within the counterfeit trinity, the adversary of God and the adversary of us also and the church. We can see that right now. Number 5, the deceiver. What is the point with the deceiver? Once again, he is the counterfeiter here. Verse 12b, because he has only a short term, so a short time. Picture that. He went from the third heaven and now he is cast down on the earth. And now he is ferocious here, adversary and so on, because his time is short. That's what it says here, that he has only a short time. How much time? We are at the midpoint of the Great Tribulation. He has exactly 3.5 years to try to annihilate the Jewish people. That's the time that he has. So, tick mark your outlines. Number 9, the events of the middle of the tribulation. Capital A, the little book, tick mark. It's behind us. The second worldwide conflict, tick mark. It's behind us. The Antichrist being killed, tick mark. It's behind us. Capital D, Satan cast down to the earth, tick mark. It's behind us. Next week, the resurrection of the Antichrist, the destruction of the ecclesiastical Babylon, and the rest of it slowly. Another 2 sessions which will lead us towards the end of May and the end of our study together. Would you allow me a few words concerning donation? I have nothing to say. Thank you for those who walk the extra mile with us. Thank you for those who are, by faith, sustaining us in this difficult time. Thank you. Those who have not answered, tell God why, and perhaps tell me why. Father, thank you so much. I love this group, miss this group. They love me, despite my shortcomings, which are many. But love, Father, I know, because of the Messiah within me, that you love me. I'm yours, Father, having committed the rest of my existence to do what I do. You will take me home, Father, in my mark days, when it's going to be my turn to go. In the meantime, protect those in front of me. Prosper them, Father. Stir their hearts. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. We bid you shalom. Thank you.